Have you ever looked at your grocery receipt and felt a sudden wave of panic? Food prices are skyrocketing, and the quality seems to be dropping just as fast. But what if I told you that you could completely eliminate your grocery bill forever? Welcome to the ultimate guide on how to design a single acre of land to feed a family of 4 all year round for exactly $0. Yes, you heard that right. $0. I promise that by the end of this video, you will have a complete blueprint to turn a simple patch of dirt into an unstoppable food-producing machine. We are going to flip everything you thought you knew about traditional farming completely upside down. You will discover the hidden secrets of nature that allow plants to grow themselves without expensive fertilizers or endless back-breaking labor. Now, I know what you are thinking. You probably think it is impossible to eat for free without a giant tractor and a huge bank account. I challenge you to keep an open mind. Let me know right now in the comments. Do you think total self-sufficiency is a realistic dream or just an internet fantasy? Stick around, because the truth is going to shock you. Before we dive into the exact blueprint, we need to understand a little bit of history and context. For thousands of years, humans grew their own food in harmony with nature. But in the modern era, we became obsessed with neat rows, chemical sprays, and giant machines. This modern farming system is broken and incredibly expensive. Then came a concept called permaculture. The word permaculture combines permanent and agriculture. It was developed in the 1970s as a way to design human habitats that mimic the brilliant efficiency of natural ecosystems. In a natural forest, nobody buys fertilizer, nobody pulls weeds, nobody sets up irrigation systems. Yet, the forest produces massive amounts of life every single year. Our goal is to copy that exact system on just 1 acre of land. To give you a visual, 1 acre is roughly the size of an American football field, without the end zones. It sounds small, but when used correctly, it is more than enough space to create an absolute abundance of food. So, let us break down this $0 design, step by step. Let us start with the absolute foundation of your new life, the permaculture zoning system. If you truly want to feed your family for $0 and save your physical energy, you must design your 1 acre plot exactly like a giant dartboard. Imagine your house is the absolute center, the bullseye. In permaculture, we call this zone 0. The area directly outside your doors is zone 1. This is exactly where you must place the plants and elements that require your daily attention. Think about it logically. You do not want to walk halfway across your land in the freezing rain just to grab a few leaves of basil for your pasta sauce. Therefore, your kitchen herbs, your delicate salad greens, and your most frequently harvested vegetables go directly into Zone 1. Now, Zone 2 is for the elements you visit maybe 2 or 3 times a week. This includes your larger root vegetables, or perhaps a small animal pen. Zone 3 is reserved for your heavy main crops that need less daily care. Zone 4 is for gathering wood or wild foraging. Finally, Zone 5 is left entirely wild to support the local ecosystem. A very common myth is that homesteading means running yourself into the ground. People think you have to walk miles every day to maintain a farm. But with intelligent zoning, 90% of your daily chores happen within 50 steps of your back porch. Imagine waking up, stepping outside in your slippers, picking a fresh tomato and walking back inside in under 2 minutes. Now we move on to one of the most powerful concepts in this entire design: the food forest. Traditional farming plants one single crop in a huge flat field. This requires constant watering and weeding. Instead, we are going to build a 7-layer food forest that takes care of itself. Picture a natural forest in your mind. It has tall canopy trees, shorter fruit trees, berry bushes, herbaceous plants, ground covers, climbing vines, and root systems below the soil. We are going to replicate all 7 of these layers, but every single plant will be edible or useful. For a brilliant example, imagine planting a large apple tree. That is your canopy. Beneath it, you plant a smaller cherry tree. Under the cherry tree, you plant blueberry bushes. On the ground around the bushes, you plant sprawling strawberries to act as a living mulch. You can even have edible vines like kiwi climbing up the larger trunks. You are stacking your food vertically. A massive myth is that you need huge open spaces to grow enough food. The truth is, by stacking plants vertically, you multiply the growing area of your single acre by 3 or 4 times. And the best part? The taller trees provide shade, drop leaves to build soil, and protect the smaller plants. This means $0 spent on soil amendments and significantly less time spent watering. Speaking of watering, how do we keep all these plants alive without paying a massive water bill every month? The answer is passive water harvesting. To achieve a true $0 budget, you cannot rely on city water. You must capture the rain exactly where it falls. We do this by digging simple structures called swales. A swale is essentially a shallow ditch dug along the natural contour of your land, with a mound of dirt on the downhill side. When it rains heavily, the water does not just wash away down the hill. Instead, it gets trapped in the swale. It sits there and slowly sinks deep into the earth, hydrating the root systems of your food forest for weeks. For a perfect illustration, imagine a sponge. A flat, hard field is like a concrete block. Water bounces right off. But an acre covered in swales is like a giant green sponge that holds thousands of gallons of free water underground. In addition to swales, you must set up simple rain barrels attached to the gutters of your roof. Every drop of water that hits your house is directed into large storage tanks. Many beginners believe the myth that farming requires expensive, complicated pump systems. But gravity and smart earthworks are completely free. By shaping the dirt once, you guarantee a lifetime of free irrigation for your entire family. Let us talk about the magic of black gold. I am talking about composting. If you want to grow massive, healthy vegetables, you need rich soil. Garden centers will try to sell you expensive bags of chemical fertilizers. Do not buy them. You can make the best fertilizer in the world for absolute $0. Composting is the engine of your 1-acre farm. Every single apple core, potato peel, and eggshell from your kitchen goes into the compost pile. Add in autumn leaves, grass clippings, and weeds from your garden. Over a few months, millions of natural microbes break this waste down into dark, crumbly, nutrient-dense soil. To speed things up, you can introduce compost worms. This is called vermicomposting. As an example of how powerful this is, you can take a handful of this finished compost, steep it in a bucket of rainwater, and create a highly potent compost tea. You spray this tea directly onto the leaves of your plants, giving them a massive boost of free nutrition. The biggest myth pushed by agricultural companies is that soil needs synthetic chemicals to produce food. The truth is, nature has been recycling dead organic matter into new life for millions of years. By closing the loop and composting everything, your soil gets richer and more productive every single season without you spending a single penny. The next crucial step to $0 survival is understanding the infinite food loop. I am talking about seed saving. When most people start a garden, they go to the store every spring and spend hundreds of dollars on little packets of seeds. If you do this, you are still trapped in the consumer system. To break free, you must learn to save your own seeds. You need to start with what are called open pollinated or heirloom varieties. These are traditional plants that produce seeds you can save and plant again next year. Let us look at a simple example. You grow a beautiful, delicious heirloom tomato. Instead of eating the very best tomato on the vine, you let it over-ripen. You smash it into a jar of water, let it ferment for a couple of days, rinse the seeds, and dry them on a simple paper towel. Just one single tomato can give you 50 to 100 new plants for the following year. This process completely drops your future seed costs to exactly $0. A lot of people fall for the myth that seed saving is complicated science. It really is not. Our ancestors did it effortlessly. Over time, as you save seeds from the strongest plants that survived best in your specific soil, you actually create your own custom ultra-resilient varieties that thrive on your land without any special care. Now, let us discuss how to work smarter, not harder. You need to focus heavily on perennial vegetables. Traditional agriculture relies on annuals. Annual plants like corn or lettuce grow for one season, die, and must be completely replanted the next year. This takes a massive amount of labor and time. Perennials, on the other hand, are plants that you put in the ground just one time, and they come back automatically year after year. This is the ultimate $0, zero-effort food source. A fantastic example is asparagus. You plant an asparagus bed once, and it will produce edible shoots every single spring for 20 to 30 years. Think about that. 2 decades of free food for 1 hour of work. Other incredible perennial crops include rhubarb, Jerusalem artichokes, and certain varieties of bunching onions. The myth here is that a real vegetable garden has to be completely tilled and replanted every spring. While you will still want some annuals like tomatoes and peppers, making perennials the backbone of your acre ensures that even if you get sick or have no time to work, the land will still feed you. You are essentially building an edible landscape that functions completely on autopilot. But what about the bugs? How do you protect your crops without buying expensive toxic pesticides? The secret lies in natural pest control and companion planting. In a monoculture farm where there is only one type of plant, pests spread like a wildfire because it is an endless buffet for them. In our diverse one-acre design, we use nature as our defense system. We plant specific things next to each other to confuse and repel insects. For instance, a classic example is planting strongly scented herbs like basil or garlic right next to your delicate tomatoes. The intense smell of the herbs completely masks the scent of the tomatoes, making them invisible to harmful pests. Another strategy is to intentionally attract predatory insects. We want ladybugs and praying mantises on our property because they eat the bad bugs. You can attract them by planting bright, nectar-rich flowers like marigolds and yarrow throughout your vegetable beds. It is a huge myth that you need chemical sprays to have blemish-free vegetables. By designing a complex, aromatic, and diverse ecosystem, pests never get the chance to take over. You let the beneficial insects do all the heavy lifting and pest management for you, completely free of charge. To truly make this one-acre system hum, we need to introduce small livestock, and the absolute best animal for a $0 homestead is the humble chicken. Chickens are not just egg-laying machines. They are your pest control team, your weed eradicators, and your premium fertilizer producers. If managed correctly, they do not have to cost you anything to feed. Instead of buying expensive bags of grain, we use a system called a chicken tractor. This is a bottomless, movable pen. Every morning, you pull the chicken tractor over a new patch of grass or an old garden bed. The chickens immediately go to work. They scratch up the soil, eat every single weed seed, and devour all the hidden bugs and ticks. As a brilliant example, imagine placing the chicken tractor over a harvested vegetable bed in the fall. The chickens will eat the leftover plant matter till the soil with their claws, and leave behind incredibly rich manure. By the time spring arrives, that bed is perfectly prepped and fertilized for free. The myth that animals are simply a financial drain is completely wrong. When integrated properly, chickens process waste into protein-rich eggs and prepare your soil, acting as unpaid farmhands that actually generate wealth. Salads and berries are wonderful, but to feed a family all year, you need serious calories. You need carbohydrates and proteins that will sustain human energy through the cold months. On our single acre, we dedicate a specific zone to high-yield calorie crops. We are talking about massive amounts of potatoes, sweet potatoes, winter squash, and drying beans. These crops are incredibly easy to grow. They produce a massive amount of weight per square foot, and they store beautifully without electricity. A historic and brilliant example of this is the Three Sisters planting method, invented by Native Americans. You plant a corn stalk. As it grows tall, you plant a climbing bean right next to it. The bean uses the corn as a natural trellis. Then you plant a large squash plant at the base. The giant squash leaves shade the soil, locking in moisture and preventing weeds. Meanwhile, the beans pull vital nitrogen from the air and feed it directly into the soil to nourish the corn. It is a perfect $0 symbiotic relationship. The myth here is that you need acres of wheat to get enough carbohydrates. But with dense plantings of potatoes and the Three Sisters method, just a quarter of your acre can produce enough heavy calories to sustain 4 people for an entire year. Now, we have to solve the problem of winter. How do you feed a family for $0 when there is snow on the ground? You must extend the growing season. You do not need an expensive heated commercial greenhouse. You can build a passive solar hoop house or a cold frame using completely upcycled materials. Imagine going to a local junkyard or searching online classifieds for old, discarded glass windows. People give them away for free every day. You take these free windows and build a simple slanted box facing the winter sun. This creates a microclimate. Even when it is freezing outside, the temperature inside that glass box can easily reach 70 degrees on a sunny day. A perfect illustration of this is growing cold hardy crops like spinach, kale, and carrots inside these simple frames. The frozen ground outside might be dead, but inside your free glass box, you are harvesting fresh green salads in January. A common myth is that gardening is only a summer activity. But by trapping the free heat of the sun and blocking the cold wind, you can easily grow fresh, vitamin-rich food 365 days a year without spending a single dime on heating or electricity. Even with a winter greenhouse, the bulk of your calories must be stored from the summer harvest. This brings us to the crucial skill of $0 food preservation. You have grown a mountain of food, but if it rots, your family goes hungry. The goal is to safely store everything without relying on massive, energy-hogging freezers. We look back to the methods of our great-grandparents. We are talking about water bath canning, dehydration, and natural fermentation. For example, imagine having 80 pounds of cabbage. Instead of letting it spoil, you chop it up, add a little salt, and pack it into jars. Through the natural magic of fermentation, it turns into sauerkraut, which will stay perfectly safe and edible in a cool, dark pantry for over a year. Another amazing free storage method is a simple root cellar. You do not even need to build a room. You can take an old plastic cooler, bury it in the ground below the frost line, and pack it full of carrots and potatoes layered in damp sand. The earth naturally acts as a refrigerator. The myth is that preserving food requires expensive gadgets. But with a little knowledge, some salt, and the cool temperature of the earth, you can preserve thousands of pounds of organic food securely for the winter. The final block of our design is not a physical structure, it is the $0 mindset. To truly achieve total self-sufficiency, you must change the way you view the world around you. Your 1 acre is not just a garden, it is a vast network of resources waiting to be utilized. This includes the lost art of wild foraging. Many of the plants you currently pull up and throw away as weeds are actually highly nutritious superfoods. For instance, the common dandelion. Most people poison them, but every single part of the dandelion is edible. The young leaves make a fantastic spicy salad, the flowers can be turned into sweet jelly, and the roots can be roasted to make a coffee substitute. That is free food growing completely on its own. Furthermore, the $0 mindset involves community bartering. If you have an absolute explosion of zucchini and your neighbor has an excess of firewood, you trade. No money changes hands, but both families become richer. The ultimate myth of modern life is that every problem requires a financial transaction to solve. Once you step onto your fully designed acre and realize that nature provides everything you need in abundance, the concept of money starts to lose its power over you entirely. And here is the incredible twist. The absolute hardest part about feeding your family for $0 is not the physical labor. It is the mental unlearning. You have to actively unlearn the modern convenience of just swiping a credit card at a supermarket. You have to trust the slow, steady rhythm of nature instead. We have covered the essential zoning, the magic of the food forest, harvesting free water, and turning waste into black gold. We explored saving your own seeds, utilizing perennial plants, letting animals do the heavy lifting, and preserving the massive harvest through the cold winter months. This is not just about saving money on groceries. It is about claiming absolute freedom and security for your loved ones. Thank you so much for watching and going on this journey with me today. If you found this 1-acre blueprint helpful, please hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, and share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Now, I want to hear from you. If you were handed 1 free acre of land today, what is the very first thing you would plant in the ground? Let me know down in the comments, and I will see you in the next video.